friends, welcome to my channel. As this channel is all about learning new technologies, new innovations in a simple way. So we started off with how to develop a mobile application. The first video deals about simple mobile application, and the previous video before that deals about how to install a KIVY in Python. You would have seen simple step in developing a mobile application. So the next stage of developing a mobile application, we move on with how to develop a simple mobile application through layouts. That is, getting a name and a mail ID and displaying it. So as I said before, in the previous videos, we'll be using Python as a platform. For that, it is basically required KIVY. So that we have seen how to install it. So moving on with, for developing mobile applications through Python, you open the Python in administrator mode. That I have already gave you instructions, steps to open the Python administrator mode in previous videos. So I have opened the Python shell. Now let's move on with the code. So I have already developed the code. I'll just explain how the code works. So this video is all about GUI based, developing a GUI based application. So it starts with import KIVY. Basically, we have to import KIVY. Then the app. Since we are developing it as an app, we have to import the app class. And here I am using four kind of components. One is label. So I import the label. Since it is user interface based, so I am using user interface UIX. From that label, I am importing the label class. Then another component I am using is grid layout. The third component I am using is text input. And the fourth component I am using is button. So these are the imports or the header files which I have to be used before entering into the main. So always the mobile application starts with a class name. Class. So I have given the class as migrate. So I am calling the migrate through grid layout. So I am forming a grid. Through the grid, all the components will be deployed. So grid layout, initializing the grid. Okay, so for that I am using the function called as init. It is an inbuilt function. So it is getting the arguments. So KWARGS is KIVY Windows arguments. So self is nothing but the same class. So super, as we see in C++, super keyword is used to, or in object-oriented programming, super keyword is used to denote the upper class. Super is nothing but here the class migrate itself. Super of migrate comma self dot init of KWRGS. So it is calling the init function of the migrate class itself. So I am defining the column as 1. Okay, so therefore that self dot calls is equal to 1. Calls defines the number of columns we are going to use. So inside that window, I am defining a grid layout. Single column window I am defining first. In that I am defining two columns. For that I am defining calls is equal to layout within a layout. First a common layout is being defined. In that I am defining another grid layout where it has a column called 2. For that I am adding a widget called label. The text called whether and its input type is text input, and the multi-line option I am setting it as false. Since I am getting the name will be got in a simple line. Next, I am adding the widget to the layout. Again, likewise, how I have added this name, I am adding another two widgets, that is last name and email with the same characteristics, as I said in the name label. So all these widgets will be added inside the grid layout. At last, so this is for this grid layout. These three will be added within this grid layout. Okay. Next, I am adding a button as a widget in the outer grid layout. So with the text as submit and its font size as 40. So I have to bind that button. When I press it, it has to bind with some function, right? So the bind method is used to bind the button press event. So on press, I am calling the function called as self pressed. That is the function which is being defined in this class itself. So this will be added as self.sub. Okay, so this is about my grid, initialization of my grid layout. That is about initialization function. The next is pressed function. So this function basically is used for your button event. So button, I am defining a function called as onPress. While pressing the button, this function will be automatically initiated. So while pressing the button, it will take the values of each components what I have fixed in the grid. What are the components I have fixed? It is like name, last name, and the email. So that will be taken and it will be stored in the variables called as name, name and mail. Self.name.text, self.lastname.text, self.email.text. Right? So after assigning it, while pressing the button, it will be assigned and it will be displayed in the window. For that, I am using the print function. Name, this name is given here. Last name, your name, email, mail. I am defining a class, another class called as layout event. Since two different layouts are there, that has to be combined in a single layout, right? So for that, I am defining a class called as layout event, which is defined as an app. Build of self, in that function called build. Build function is used to build the class. It is written in the migrate class. So this function is nothing but it is called the migrate class. At last, I am defining the main function calling this layout event. Layout event dot run. When we run this, it will call this class layout event dot run. Call this class. This in turn will call migrate class. So let's see what happens while running. So there are two ways before that. Before that, you have to save the program. Since we have opened, keep in mind, whilst before opening your Python program, check it whether it is open in unrestricted mode, or else it will be saved in some other location. So go to File, Save As, give the file name, and click Save. It will be saved. Now, there are two ways in running the program. One is you can go to the menu Run and click Run Module, or just simply press F5. So it starts, it says, as I said before, the imports are being deployed successfully and it opens your layout event. Since this, if you see, layout event is a class which I am calling in the main function. So that will be my title of the window. So as I said before, there are two columns. There is a single column. This is a single column. In that, I am defining another grid layout with two columns. Okay, just I am giving Please ensure all the fields are being filled. And if you click submit, you can see that a blink has come. That means the pressing event has occurred and it gets empty. These fields get empty. If you see the output, you can see whatever field I have given, it is being displayed here. So this is about a simple layout based application. Hope you enjoy this video. Keep do watch, comment and subscribe my channel. Watch out for more videos in near future. Thank you. Thank you once again.